Hi scholars, I just wanted to make a short video offering some explanations on your speech 3. I've had a few questions about how do we incorporate the PowerPoint in there, and so I just wanted to go over that very quickly. So I've got the speech assignment pulled up here. First of all, your topic doesn't have to be over a disease that runs in your family, especially if it's a real sensitive subject area in your family, but just really any disease that you are interested in or you think might affect you or your family in the future would be fine. Also, if you're working with some friends in this class, or you've got a group, I know there's several groups that are taking this class together, make sure that your topics are different enough so I don't have to question the authenticity of your particular speech. And so if you and your buddy both have heart disease that run in your family, make sure that y'all are doing your own work. So had an issue with that in a previous section. I don't want to deal with that again. So having said that, let's look at the speech requirements. Basically, you're going to give a speech with a PowerPoint as a visual aid. Now, in public speaking, a PowerPoint is not the star of the show, despite what you see in a lot of different settings. Most people focus on the PowerPoint. That's not correct. The star of the show is you, the speaker. The PowerPoint is a supplement to the speech. And so your PowerPoint should show images that reinforce what you're saying. You should have a slide for your introduction with just basically the name of the speech, and your name is fine. Just a simple introduction slide. It should be on the screen while you're saying your introduction. You should then have a slide for each of your main points. Now, in this particular presentation, I tell you what your main points are. Your first main point is the history of the disease, and so your second slide, which comes after your introduction slide, should cover history of disease. Your second main point is the present prognosis, and then future outlooks is the final point. Then you need to have a conclusion. Typically, you'll need a slide that also shows on the screen while you're giving the conclusion. So in a speech like this, you really should just have about 5 slides. A slide for the introduction, a slide for each of the 3 main points, and then a slide for the conclusion. Now, slides should be kept very simple. Do not put full sentences on your slides. Do not write out your speech and put those on your slides. The slides are not your notes. It's just there for your audience to have something next to you that they can look at, that they can see, and that will help reinforce the message that you're telling them. And so let's look at PowerPoint requirements. So it is required to have a visual aid, a PowerPoint. It should not just be a prop, but it must be related to what you're talking about. So we just talked about that, right? So when you're on point number 1, talking about the disease, your slide should be right there, also reinforcing the overall idea that you're discussing in the history of that particular disease. So if you don't have PowerPoint, just a real quick note, you can use Google Docs, or as a TJC student, you'll all have free access to Microsoft Office. And so if you don't have Microsoft Office, you should definitely download it. See the Start Here module for information on that. So your PowerPoint slide should contain very specific information. First, it should contain a title on every slide. And then it should just contain pictures or diagrams only. And so it is perfectly okay to have a slide that has a title and then a big representative picture. That's great. I'd rather have that than a title and all these little bitty pictures or clip art. That gets a little messy and confusing. So just keep it simple. You are the provider of all the interesting details. Your notes are going to guide you through the details. Remember, you have those speaker notes in front of you. The slide is there beside you to just give a visual representation. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a moment. So no bullet points, no, words or sentences besides your title on the slide. So read this section very carefully and make sure that you understand. Now, when you submit your PowerPoint, you'll do that. Well, let me back up. When you're recording your speech, you're going to show your PowerPoint. Now, how do you do that if you don't have a classroom projection set up? Well, if you do have a classroom projection set up, that's great. Another thing that students often do is they hook their if you can see in this particular speech from a previous student, they hook their computer up to their home TV. I don't know how to do that. Y'all can figure it out if you want to do that. But if that's not an option, here's another thing that students have done in the past. You know, they have like a little ironing board or some sort of desk or something that they just put their laptop on. Now, obviously, this is not ideal because it's hard to see on a little screen, but for purposes of an online class, this will work. Now, I still need to see what's on your PowerPoint, and so whether you project it on a wall or whether you put it on a TV screen or whether you have your laptop here, what I want you to do is I want you to attach your PowerPoint to your post. And so there's some explanation here. Here's some sample PowerPoints. Just off the PowerPoint subject really quick, here's some sample outlines. Please open this and follow it. This is going to help you tremendously, make your life so much easier. This basically gives you a step-by-step guide to creating this speech. Back onto PowerPoint, let's say you're ready to post. So I'm posting my link right here, and you see this little attach button. Just click this. You can browse, select your PowerPoint, and attach your PowerPoint to this same post where you've posted your link. I have a YouTube sample video of which I'm giving a sample speech in a classroom several years ago. I'm going to go ahead and post this in this announcement as well, just so you can kind of see the relationship between the speaker and the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, once again, is not the star of the show. It should really just have visual images that help reinforce your message. And so make sure that you are doing that. Make sure that you're not reading from a PowerPoint and it doesn't have text on it, except, of course, for those titles. If you have any particular questions about this speech, just let me know. I know it's due tomorrow night at midnight, and so you've got some time, but remember, the time it takes to gather an audience and do all of those things, that's really, you know, it's time consuming. And so just give yourself time. And as always, I am here to help. Thanks.